You know, the early turd gets the perm, right? Wait, I don't think that's how that goes. Let's talk about comedy these days. I'd call it absurdism Maximus. The reason people can't understand humor and satire. I was just watching. Got up early. It's like 6 o'clock. I don't know. Just woke up early, so here I am. I was watching this Alex Stein video. Just came out yesterday, and he's in. I think he's in Dallas, and he's in front of like the. I don't know, the city council. You know, when people go in and state their grievances or whatever, and if you're part of the city, you can get your minute and go in there and do and say what you got to say. Anyways, he did this. I didn't see the beginning of it. I guess he talked for a little bit, and then he did this rap, which is absolutely hilarious. Just go look it up. You'll know what it's on. Just by me saying you know what it's on, you already know it's on because you can't escape that. Well, when I first seen it, I was like, okay. Oh, 10 seconds in, I got that it was satire. It was a joke. But there's plenty of people that won't see it as a joke. They'll see it. It mimics reality so well, and it's so absurd because you're like, 10 years ago, there's no way you wouldn't know right away. This is ridiculous. This is silly. This is not even. You probably wouldn't even found it funny. Then a few years back, this new type of humor is so profound. It's so beyond absurd because reality has become a clown circus show. It has become so you can't you're like, is that real? And it is. You're like, there's no way that there are people. I think it's the how stupid people have become. That humor has become stupid. That you can't even tell this dude is going in for a joke, because people really in real life would do this. They're so confused and there's people that agree with it. They're like, yeah, whatever they're doing, I agree with it. Yeah, the person there with the crazy color hair, and out of shape, saying their body's in shape, and they're a different, they're a blender. Um, they identify as a porcupine, like these type, and people will go, oh yeah, that's real, and okay, that's reality, and everything's become so absurd that this thing, this dude going, the people didn't stop him from doing it because they were believing what he was saying. They are so confused. Maybe it's because they have diapers on their head and they can't breathe, and their brain isn't working because they don't have enough oxygen going there. I don't know what. I can't explain all of why it's happening, but you certainly can see the profundity. Like that? You like that word? Like how profound something is. The profundity of what we walk amongst on a daily basis, and how quickly it occurred. Levels of stupid, levels of what is funny, and a lot of it is because of the the, the removing masculinity from culture. Part of it is that problem, and the overall, everybody's got the feelies. They feel this way, and further, just on the people feeling that well, you're supposed to. Yeah, life is about feeling and emotions, and having an experience inside, and that's important. But there's this other pernicious thing that occurs where people want to look as if they feel a certain way. They want to act as if they feel. There's acting it out. They want to. They want people to think. It's not like if somebody famous dies, then like, oh, It really bothers me today. My heart goes out. Prayers up. Like the virtue signaling is just on another level. And the dilemma even further, people used to virtue signal 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago. But now, people that are virtue signaling, they don't even know that they're doing it. They see it as a common practice, like a fad, and they really think that that's what it is. That's what's real good. That's what's really good. So like between virtue signaling, uh, the the overabundance of clowns, stupidity, people attempting to like this whole mix of things makes this really strange brew of what is comedy, and there's no fine there used to be a jump from reality to comedy, and then there was maybe a fine line, and now there's not even a gray area. The whole thing is comedic. Like if you were to ask, say, there's different religious notions in the East, religious ideas, and of how the world exists and what its function is. Ask different belief systems, and what they'll say is, okay, the world is here as a tool for learning. It's to get to God. There's all sorts of things, and some believe that it's this drama humor. It's like humor and drama, and now we're in that like people are so dramatic that everything has become humorous. Everything has become so bizarre. It's like a bizarro clown world that everything is so. It's like a ladle of attempted humor on everything, but it's all mixed with people that really feel that way, or really have been drugged up or deluded to the degree that even they find themselves offended by humor. Let's throw offense in that. Offense to everything. And then you got the other people that are just laughing at everything because it's like, how ridiculous is this? And so this I don't know, it's not even millennials or whatever people call these. You got Gen X's and millennials and Gen Z's and boomers and just the newer generations. And why is their humor so strange and absurd? Because it's compounded. You have to know so many things on the internet to make sense of a joke, to make sense of what comedy might be. That you'd have to go 4 levels back to a meme, if you even understand what a meme, a meme, why they even exist and what they are. You have to go back generations to see, oh, well, that thing turned into this thing, which turned into morphed into this, and now you have so compound and absurd that there's no way of there's no reference to why anything is funny anymore. You can't even find a logical progression for a joke, for what is humor. So it's like we find some people that are, they're funny on the YouTubes or the TikToks or whatever else, and I'll watch it and I'm like, where's the funny here? Everything is like a hijinks, and it's like bells and it's like a morning show on the radio that people used to listen to. I don't know if anybody's aware of these old morning shows, and then it'd be like, and there's all stupid sounds, and everybody's laughing and just drinking all the coffee and being just weird, and that will really get your morning going, like. And all the comedy that, well, I can't call it comedy. It's just so absurdism, that people are like, oh, that's what's funny. And I'm like, but why? What's the joke? I feel like Tim Robinson. What's the joke here? You couldn't. There should be some. And there is a little bit of a mathematical formula to make a decent joke. There is a rhythm and a pattern, a rhyme and a reason for most jokes. And now you couldn't have every joke you can explain. You say you take the humor out of it if you explain it. Not always. I mean, you could tell people the foundation for a joke and then still tell them the joke, and it'll get a laugh. But now it's like you ask somebody to tell you why something's funny. They couldn't do it. They will get frustrated because they're like, oh, you just don't get it. I don't get it because there is nothing to get. Like, people's brains are so... It's like everybody took 400 grams of mushrooms and doused themselves with acid, and they're trying to make some why is that funny? And you can't quite figure it out. Some things on there, if you isolate them, just the profundity, the absurdity, the bizarreness, the craziness, the weirdness, the strangeness, just on that alone, resting on your laurels of something, just that alone will make something funny. If you see something crazy, that's funny. But now that everything is so clownish, you have to go, okay, now since everything's clownish, I'm gonna need an explanation of why that's funny. Because it's not just like an outcast, an outlying joke over here, an outlying... Because legitimately good comedians tend to be the smartest people in the room by far, because they're quick-witted, their brain makes connections. And this is why you gotta say good comedians. There's a lot of people out there that are they're not that funny, they're not that quick-witted, their delivery sucks. But great comedians, they have so many references, and they can make... They can make sense out of the impossible, and while making sense of it, they can add a little spice to it and make it funny. And again, here's where this started this morning. I watched Alex Stein do a dance and rap. I don't know if he danced. He rapped though, wearing some scrubs in front of Dallas State Council, or not State City Council, whatever, I don't know. And it was so crazy that some people will find it like they think it's real. But the point is, again, that anybody would ever at any other time find this to be... And it's not just what he's doing it about, because you could be doing this in any other avenue of life, like the whole gender bending thing. That whole thing is so absurd, but you could mimic one of these people that are real, that literally exist out there with everything going on, and they're not doing parody. They're not parroting and parodying anything. They're not there's no satire. And not so someone else will do satire, you won't even notice it. And that's never existed before. You could never do satire. Everything would come off as, tongue in cheek. You'd kind of get it. You'd be like kind of, winking. You'd kind of there would be an obvious, oh, you're taking the piss. You're oh, you're making fun of. You'd get it. And now you don't get it. So, what's up, Christopher Lee? Give me a sec. Give me 1 minute for this little comedy break here. I gotta go add a little sugar to this. It's in my coffee. Okay. So I think there's been a time where I think most people would consider me pretty funny. And now I question that because I don't even know what's funny anymore. The things that I think are funny have it's not because I'm old and I don't get it. That I'm not hip with the generation. It's not that. It's that I literally can't, like, when you're funny, and you figure out the pitter patter and the rhythm and the timing and the setup for jokes. You figure it out. It's a thing you can do. And right now I'm just so I don't know. I think if I were to do a straight a channel on comedy, I don't even know what I guess I could do anything. I could say and do anything, and someone's gonna find it funny, or not at all. I'm trying to figure out. I want to go to channels that are doing the same thing that funny channels are doing that aren't getting the laughs. But I can tell I've seen the ones that they miss, and I see the ones that are, you got the big channels people are laughing at, subbed, and it's used as memes or whatever. And I don't know. I don't know what it takes anymore. What's up, Skull? Oh, it is. Having a coffee and a cider. I'd really like a cider. I really would. I haven't had a cider in quite a long time, and I used to drink them quite religiously. It was a bottle I drank, but I was finding that a lot of them had sulfites in it, and my body has built up quite a no to sulfites, and I'll get I'll get kind of a rash from it. My face will get a little bloodshot, like it'll get red, and I can tell. I kind of have a reaction to it. So it's like the metallic sulfites they put in there. Like organic sulfites that are in wine, I'm just fine with. But then the added shit, oh no, I don't do well with that. What's up, no ID? Oh yeah, yeah. You guys get it when I'm being funny. Well, there's that, and a lot of times I do it with a straight face, and I'm being very dry. That yeah, I guess you'd have to be witty and wise, but if you know me in person, I'll probably smirk a lot more, and I'll probably be laughing. And it's not. It's like in the tone of doing a show. Usually, yeah. It's there's parts that are funny to me, but I'm not going for it. Not like, okay. Let's just fucking let's get comedy going here. Comedy. Hey Skull, you saw a funny video this morning. 100 boys dressed up like Boris Johnson dancing. Now Skull, was that supposed to be funny, or was that like, was it like, because we've seen all sorts of really silly things where, it's they think it's they're doing it as a they're not doing it as humor. You know what I mean? Now if they were doing it to be funny, see that's what I'm saying is I'm just picturing it and going, I wonder if they were like, it's kind of like those you've seen those Dr. Fauci stuff, like where people are like things like, oh, this is actually what the video was this morning that I'm talking about. You got to look it up. I've got what's his name? What did I just tell you his name was? Jewish last name. Wow, I've already lost it. Alex S word. Anyways, yeah, he was doing it. He did a rap about Fauci, but it was at the beginning. It just seemed, and the whole thing was just seemed like he was a doofy dude, but he was playing the doofy dude. But I mean, in the past, we have all these people that are out there. They're like, Yeah, I got a Band-Aid and, Fauci. Yeah, meh, meh. And there's still people that believe in this guy. They're like, oh. Oh, okay. Oh, they're taking the piss. Cool, cool. That's funny. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Could you? He was dancing like that dude. How is that dude anything? I don't get it. Like, what's like to me? Like looking at the dude, you'd be like, did he just, did he get out of bed? What is his? Is that him? Is he a great actor? I mean, I get it that they're all actors, but do they even know they're actors anymore? I mean, like that dude should be like on a street corner with you know cheese running down the corner of his lips, begging for change and drooling. I don't know. He just doesn't. He doesn't look like somebody that should be any position. I mean, this goes for most politicians, anyways. They just don't look like they should be in a position of authority of any degree. They don't sound like it. They don't act like it. And he couldn't be on Broadway. He couldn't. But yet, it's like the worst actors become politicians, and people give them more respect. It's crazy, crazy times. Yeah, I know. It does look, but you know what? His hair is styled that way. That's not not on purpose. His hair style is a style. And I mean, now if he was in Florida going to a nightclub and he was kind of buff and younger, that would be a dope hairstyle, you know? That'd be cool kid shit right there. But him doing that, he looks disheveled, I think is the word. Disheveled. How often do you get to use the word disheveled in your life? He is he is a picture of that. Everything about him. He does look like he should have someone looking after him all the time. He should be on a leash or something. He should have a helmet on most of the time. Like he should really not have a helmet on. Maybe a bucket under his a trough or a pail or a bucket underneath him. So when he's drooling, it'll catch it. Or with his feed in it, he should just eat. Like I think he probably just eats mutton chops. You know what I mean? He just eats kibble. He doesn't look like he deserves to. He should eat what dogs don't eat. Like we make dog food or let the shit hit the floor so dogs can have it. Whatever dogs don't eat is what he should be eating. If dogs were to make food for the next species, that's what Boris should be eating. Yeah, you like that? Depressing guy for sure. I don't find him depressing. I find it depressing that he is in the position that he's in for the world as an entirety, like him and all of the other people that are. All of these people are so old and decrepit and decayed and mentally deficient that it should be so apparent that they shouldn't be there. They're too old. They should be getting unemployment. They should be in, facilities for like they need help. Maybe they are. Maybe they're in. Maybe they bring them out, put them in green screen and say, "Hey, act this out," and we don't even know that. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're all insane. I mean, certainly they're all psychopaths, sociopaths, whatever, or they're just completely. They think they're putting a show on in front of in the insane asylum. But to me it's not it's more humorous than depressing. He himself is not a depressing guy. You go, oh, look at that. Is he missing? Is he missing a few chromosomes? I mean, how many? How many is he missing? Is more apt question. He's not just missing one. He's missing a few. It's like, for instance, your boy Joe Biden. Now he's not missing chromosomes. He's just become mental deficient. He's not. He's not aware. He has all sorts of, where your brain don't work so good because you're old. You got the old timers. You got a little bit of a. You got like a, instead of having like a prolapsed anus, he has a prolapsed brain, just like blowed out. Just doesn't work right. All of the neurological connections and everything that's supposed to occur just ain't happening. So for him, he's spent. He's done. But Boris, I think he was born without everything that you needed to be qualified as a human. He would seem to me to be a subspecies for sure. You would never accuse him of being intelligent. You would never think that he rode the normal bus. He rode the short bus to school, and he went to the special classes. Like, there's no way he didn't. There was no way he was allowed in normal classes. Like, maybe once in a while they let him out, and he probably got picked on too much. Yeah, he should eat all the leftovers. It looks like, I mean, by the looks of him, he looks like he does eat everyone's leftovers. He probably goes through trash cans. He's like a raccoon. Just goes out late at night, just starts rummaging through people's garbage cans for snacks. What's up, Branches? The moon thingy. The higher the moon is in the sky, the smaller it gets. The bigger the moon is, the closer it gets. Well, I mean, okay. If we suppose it's a dome, right? Now, if we lived right in the middle, it would be the equal size no matter where it was. If you lived here, as it's low, it would be close. As it was high, it'd be farther away. So obviously, the farther you away from the middle, the more the discrepancy in size would be seen. So the farther you get away from the middle of the realm, the closer you would be to one of the if there is a dome of some sorts. The closer you would be. See what I'm saying? Or if it was on the other side, if it was all the way over here, of course it'd be farther away. Well, yeah, baboon. You're like, I think what we should do is everybody has spirit animals, but I don't think these politicians have spirit animals, but they do appear as certain. You know how you can personify things and turn things into like what's their human qualities, or humans often look like animals in the other direction, or appear as something. Like what animal do they look like? Or what's their energy? It's not he does have a baboon type quality, I suppose, yeah. mean, the idea of the, um, obviously, I don't believe in the theory of evolving from apes or whatever. I think it's silly. However, I do think that the closest thing we might find is the intervention theory by Lloyd Pye. Lloyd Pye? Is that what his name is? Lloyd Pye? Is that Yeah, I think that's his name. Lloyd Pye. And the intervention theory is basically the same theory of hybridization or cross species that, say, the gods with the little g, the higher species wanted to make a slave species, so they wanted them intelligent enough to pay attention and to be able to have an understanding, so they had their blood, but then they took an ape and they crossbreeded them, and then there's the RH, the rhesus monkey gene, blah blah blah. So there's like some people have it, some people don't, so it's like a half species. It's like half bloods. That intervention theory seems kind of, and here's a way that you can tell that it's that evolution is a serious, there's a serious flaw, and why intervention theory seems kind of interesting. Let me make it easy. Monkeys or gorillas or baboons or whatever species, apes. See this right here? They don't grow this. They don't grow this. They don't grow hair on their chest. They grow it on their back. There's no reason in evolution that I would just start growing this. No, it wouldn't happen. And there's no reason that they would just start growing hair on their chest rather than their back. There's no reason that. So those are some major physical features. I think the chin is another thing. I think that there's only like two species, like elephants and humans, are the only ones that have chins. I think some weird stuff going on there. We wouldn't lose our strength. Like, how much stronger they are? Like, why would we lose our strength? Why would no species would be ever an intelligent thing? Because evolution is supposed to get better, right? You wouldn't lose strength and just randomly change where hair is and how that grows. They don't grow hair on the top of their head and just they got hair like that. That's not how that works. They have hair literally all over it, like. So we're gonna just stop growing hair all over our body and just go right to our face. What a dopey thing to believe. And then let's science that away. Here's two things that don't link up, but I need you to show me how that could possibly link up. And then they go, oh, that's how it links up. So that's science. That's dopey. Branches. If true ice does not melt, I don't know. You got to give me basis for that. I've never even heard that. I don't know why true ice wouldn't melt. Then it's not ice. I'm a little confused at your first. So you're going with the weird statement. True ice does not melt. Well, you've given me a weird statement to begin with. So then, where does the energy of the ice come from? Yeah, I don't know what you're saying there. That's a non sequitur to begin with, and you're starting with a false premise. See that we can do sciencey stuff too. I think if it were, if you say true ice, I never heard the term. That would be like a diamond or a crystal. A crystal is frozen. What is frozen in place? I mean, we use the word frozen as means stuck, but No ifs, ands, or buts. Uh. You know what I like? I like coffee with hot chocolate. That's what I'm eating. That's what I'm having right now. I made some hot chocolate last night, and I had some left over, so I just mixed the coffee with it, and it's dynamite. So like mocha, like cafe mocha, like a mochaccino. Yes. What do you mean? You call what is posh is something that's very It's like nose up and everything is fantastic and it's all dressed to the nines and so posh. It's that's how you have to say it. It's posh. I don't understand what you're saying posh to. Are you saying like coffee with chocolate? So if you're having a mocha, that would be considered posh. Is that what you're saying? I think mixing like some hot chocolate and coffee is I think that would be kind of gutter, you know. I actually do. I actually do espresso. I like espresso well more than coffee. I like dark, thick, you know. I like the taste of coffee. And espresso, oddly, as I've pointed out before, for anybody that doesn't know, espresso has less caffeine. The darker the roast, people are like, oh, dark coffee. It must mean it's more coffee-like and has more caffeine. No, it has less caffeine. Light roast. If I drink a small cup of light roast coffee, I'll be bing bonging off the walls. I won't be able to sit still, and I'll talk incessantly and quickly. It's no good. Too much caffeine, because when you roast the things, you roast the beans, the cherries, you're breaking down all of the chemical compounds that are the caffeine. Bing bong off the walls, right? So yeah, it's Saturday. I didn't even realize I've really done anything all week. I didn't know what day it was. But Saturday, cool. Maybe things are happening today. Maybe there'll be people outside doing stuff. That could be exciting. Hopefully, we'll see. We'll see. I think I want to do 3 things today, and I'm gonna put it out there later. I wanna buy a few things today, but that's gonna take all of your help, and it's not gonna. I don't want to buy a lot, but I want to get a new outfit. And I don't shop at expensive stores. We're not going to Macy's. We're not going to Saks on Fifth. We're gonna go to Salvation Army or some sort of secondhand store. I'm gonna get some new gear. It cost me $10. So I'm gonna ask for you guys to make a little donation so I get a new outfit. So get some new gear. And then I wanted to go and get there's something else I wanted to get today. There's another cheap item. Well, we'll figure it out. But I want. Where was I gonna go? I wanted to get a new ring, because I gave all my rings away. I had a really cool scarab beetle with was a scarab and a ankh. I gave it away. I do these things. And so in the French Quarter there's the world famous French market. Hold on one second, y'all. There's the world famous French market, and it's an outdoor open air shop where it's basically 100 booths, and you get stuff for real cheap there. And I want to get some new rings. So I'm trying to come up on that lick. I'm trying to come up on that dough. So if anybody wants to, you can Cash App, PayPal, and it pays for my humor and you guys getting some education, and just because you guys are delightful people. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo is in the description box beneath. And if you need anything from me one-on-one, you could pay for you can donate to the cause of getting to talk to me one-on-one. If you have any personal issues, such as a bloody bung or something that you don't want to express on here, or maybe some whatever. You can holler at me at TheoLuminous. It's in the description box. Anyways, but what we'll do is I'll take you guys on a shopping journey. We'll go to the quarter. You can listen to some music. Take you guys shopping. You guys could be like my sugar daddies and sugar mommies. Except I don't need all like. I should probably just get one of those, huh? I could probably get a sugar mommy, right? Like an old woman. I'm happy to provide service. I'm a cheap date, is what I'm saying. No idea you had a banana, peanut butter, milk smoothie. Yeah, you know what? I would, for me, the addition to that is I like walnuts, cinnamon, and maple syrup. That is, and banana. That's the super dope smoothie. What's up, my guy? What's up, Glenn? Glenn? Hey, is that where you are now? Are you in Colorado Springs? Is that where you are now? That was one of the places on my short list of places to move when I lived in when I was in Baltimore. It was basically there was a bunch of places we were gonna move to. One was Colorado Springs that I had really mapped out to the point we were considering going to. There was a couple small towns around there, and there were some really cool places that were. What are those things called? Those huts that are they're like really easy to set up, but they're really cozy inside. They're like usually white, and they have like a pitched roof. I forget what they're called. Anyways, almost moved to Colorado Springs. That was on the short list. It was New Orleans, San Fran, and what's that place in Texas where all the hippies go? The hipsters and hippies. Austin. And I think I made the right choice with New Orleans. The San Fran, I'd never been there, but a lot of people said it's super cool. But the trip would have been so far from Baltimore that, like, if we didn't like it, it's like a journey back east would have been a whole show. Do I reckon the car people will like you if you go on your horse that you find? I think they'll be surprised. I don't think they dislike you. I think they'd find a curiosity. You know. I don't. You know. I think it's the people that use. Like, car people don't like bike people. Do they like scooter people? Do they like motorcycle people? Do they like people on goofy, like the guy that's around town on a unicycle? He's a weirdo. He's a curiosity, though. Somebody that's riding a different piece of equipment. Those people that ride the bikes, but they're the sit-down bikes and they got the flag on the back. So people see them. Like, they're curiosities. And I think somebody on a horse, I think you'd get respect. Any city that you go to, you have mounties. You have that mount the horses up. The police force that are on the horses. There's a bunch of reasons they do that. They do it in New Orleans. There's people on horses all over New Orleans, and it's because it demands authority, it demands respect. You ain't effing with the horse. You don't want all that. And they'll be. That's the crazy thing is you think about Bourbon Street, and you think people are just running up and down there acting a fool, which they are, but certain spots you got people just chilling there on horses. That'll calm people right down. People go, oh, they'll sober up a little bit. Winder, Georgia. Is that in the north or south of Georgia? Oh, and the other place that I almost moved to was Atlanta. I've always just liked Atlanta. It's such a sprawled out city, and I think one of the major reasons is just I didn't know the city that well. I mean, I didn't know New Orleans, but it's a smaller community, and I was aware of it. The times I've been to Atlanta, you got to know what part you're in, and getting around, you got to have a car. Here, you don't need a vehicle. I think that was probably why Atlanta didn't happen. Is Winder, Georgia, north, south, east, west? Or you could get a mini horse. Now, if you got a mini horse, you'd be goofy. So east of Atlanta. So okay. Hey, you got to make it down to New Orleans. It's almost Mardi Gras. We're about we're only about 2 weeks out, really. What is it, like the 14th right now? What's today's date? Oh, it's the 15th. Yeah, we're only 2 to 3 weeks out. Mardi Gras time, boy. And considering how these variations of the dance that everybody's doing, the variations that are happening, and just because we did the mask thing, that should be right down where they should remove they'll have to remove it, because they won't be, not that they could enforce it anyways, but there's no way that could be enforced, the masking thing, and it doesn't make any sense. So that's when everything should be, oh, well, we did that, now the numbers are way down, and then they'll use that as an excuse to do it again afterwards, if they want to play with the statistics or whatever. But nonetheless, yeah, Mardi Gras, man. Have you ever done? Has anybody in here, have you ever been to Mardi Gras? It's fantastic. I mean, there's a lot of people that have been here for years. I think after you've been here for 20 years, there's a lot of people that leave. But then again, they tend to be older people, and they're just not, it's not that they're not amused, but they're not amused. I mean, I think maybe they've just done it so many times, and you pretty much shut the city is shut down. Shit's closed. Like, there's nothing going on. I mean, everything's going on, but everybody's outside, and streets are closed, and I remember I moved during Mardi Gras 4 years ago, and I was only going a couple miles, and to get there, getting around the whole thing, because this street's closed and this is it, and it was a whole thing. It should have taken 10 minutes to drive, and it took like an hour and a half. You said you've been twice and you don't remember because you drank way too much? Come on, I mean, you have to remember the general ambiance. And depending on where you were, like, it's like a thing, man. I mean, it's not like just a normal party. It's not like shutting a block down. It's literally the whole thing. You don't, it's a sprawl, dude. I mean, some of the parades are how many miles long? Like, hours and hours and miles of insanity. It's lots of fun. I mean, and then you have the different vibes depending on if you're in certain parts of, mid city versus uptown versus the French Quarter. If you're in the French Quarter, then it's a different Mardi Gras experience because you're not dealing with like the local parading. You're dealing with like people that come here and just go, oh, it's a shit show. Because it's not necessarily well, it is a shit show, even with locals and kids out and whatever. Even the morning parades, people are already loaded by 11 o'clock. But it's a little different in the quarter than it is on the outskirts, and it's not even the outskirts of, or the starts of the parade. She couldn't get out of the bar because you were too drunk and it was too much of a mess. You were just packed in there like sardines. So wait, you said how old are you? You're in your 50s, right? So you went to Mardi Gras in the late 70s? No, early 80s. I'm trying to do this math here. Yeah, it would have been probably, you probably were Mardi Gras in like what, 81, 82? Because you're like 57, right? I think that's what you told me. I don't quite remember. 61. Okay, so then you were probably then in the you were going to Mardi Gras when right around my, yeah, 81. Told you I'm a shaman. I know things. I got telekinetic activity going on here. I was how old was I? 2 years old, or so I suppose. I don't actually know. It's unverifiable. Like some people don't know this. Uh, a 42, 42. Some people don't know this, but your certificate of live birth and your birth certificate, are not the same thing, obviously, but no, most people don't even know that exists. Actually, I think there's three of them that exist, three different ones, but the two standard ones are your certificate of live birth and your birth certificate. They might not have the same date on it. Some people, because you can get the other one. It's a whole thing. It's a rigmarole to get it, to get your certificate of live birth. And some people have it, but most people do not. A friend of mine is adamant on having their both, and says that they have both. I'm like, and she had said she doesn't know why, but her father's a doctor, and I think that's why. I think maybe he knew something. So she has her certificate of live birth and her birth certificate. But anyways, so if you were like, for me, being born on a certain day, it doesn't necessarily mean anything, because that could have a different date on it. So I don't know how much difference the date could be. Sometimes a couple days. Um, but some people, like, they'd be like thinking they're Scorpio their entire life, and they're not a Scorpio. They were born, and they're born before the cusp, and then their certificate was after the cusp, right? So they're a Sag. Oh, you know about that. I mean, there's, depending on who you go to and the process of it. I mean, it's there's different ways of doing all of that, uh, the paperwork and things. There's, I'm trying to think of, brother Truth. If you never heard of him, I'd seen him talk, and I study a lot of his shit, and he gets into all of that and how to do it. But I've also seen other people, and they give different advice on what to do. So Not to say they both couldn't work, but it's just the amount of different hoops and jumps, and you got this rope and that. I mean, a lot of people using it, and it does seem to work. At least to access your money. You know, your value of your birth certificate and being a bond and being traded on the stock market and having a value, and using that as, you know, everything's already paid for kind of thing. If that's the route you're going, so sovereignty and using straw man as your placeholder for all of your business transactions. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, there's a bunch of different ways of looking at what they're using as collateral, what they're using as the bond, what they're using as the, you know, you've got the sovereign free person, you, and then you've got the straw man, and how that is divvied up, and what the, you know, what your signature is signing for, and, you know, there's a bunch of different ways of pulling those two things apart. Yeah. So yeah, what time are we looking at here? 7 o'clock in the a.m. Is the sun over there yet? I was sun gazing yesterday morning. Seems to be a couple clouds out right now, though. Has anybody noticed the extra suns in the sky? Apparently, I've seen quite a few videos of people. They'll show you the sun on one side and then go to the other side of the sky, and you'll see the other sun. So whether that's the second sun or a fake sun, or who knows. And this is the whole idea of why they're spraying so many things in this. You cover up the layers to the realm, or what's behind it, or, you know, there are lots of theories on this. When you sun gaze, you see 4. Now, are you saying it in the sense that once you start sun gazing, your eyes are projecting it, or you're seeing through the thing? You're seeing through the illusion. Yeah, no idea. Yeah. There you go. Change your name to No Idea. What, dude? Oh man, you sending a solar lens too? You were so awesome. This is, I really don't know what to say. Like, beyond thank you. You know that you trust me with it. That's fucking wicked. You know, I was like, a friend of mine. I was like, oh, I'm about to get this. Someone's. I was like, I think someone's sending me like a P900. Da da da. Like, what? Like somebody wouldn't even, like, my aunt won't even trust me with a normal camera. Like, I'm like, I don't know why. Like, that's pretty fucking awesome. That's strong shit right there. Yay. Oh yeah, it's been around the world. Remember that song, Around the World? for you, you said for UFO stuff. I've never seen any. I mean, I've seen things that are obviously unexplainable, but I mean, whilst on Salvia Devonium, I'd seen I'd seen the moon. I'd seen the sun set twice in 30 minutes in different parts of the sky. I could just chalk that up to substance, but um, I've seen just in sobriety, I've seen enough anomalies with the size of the sun that doesn't make sense or where it was in the sky. And in the astral realm, out of body, I've seen three moons. I've seen three moons, and I've seen enough things online of people taking pictures of more than one sun, and they didn't seem at all fake or edited in any way. They seem super legit. Oh yeah, that's so you know that is crazy that like the two of you both have P900s, and I don't know anybody that has that camera. Like that's like studio equipment right there, man. That's like next level like you know, Hollywood shit right there. But yeah, that's funny. Two people in the room got. Yeah, you can tell me how all the buttons and shit functions. I don't even know how to use a calculator, man. I can't even program a VCR. Yeah, I gotta just figure. I'm not too far from the lake, but that's one of the major things I wanna take a picture of is Lake Pontchartrain, and because of how far it is across, and then there's a couple other cool areas I wanna. I just gotta get there. Gotta start. I gotta find some more friends with vehicles. I mean, there's buses and shit, but have to plan out some journeys. Oh, I know. Isn't that they kind of? Yeah, Glenn. It, don't they call it basically the globe killer? Because once you're like, okay, the number one proof is the curvature thing over a distance. You know, the eight. What is it? 8 inches per mile squared or whatever. That should be the curvature, whatever. That once somebody goes, oh, that ship goes over the thing. Once you can bring that back in, that right there alone disproves the whole thing. Other than the only thing you could say is then, well, then the ball is way bigger, and in that case, it still destroys the idea of like, well, here, this is the picture we have. This is what we're told. Why would they? So now it's still a ball, but you know that's the only recourse. But then that's a whole nother ball of string or whatever you want to call it, ball of yarn. So that and the sun and moon being out at the same time are two huge proofs for me. Yeah, I wish there was a spot along the Mississippi that I could do it too, but there's too much curvy. There's too many. There's not a long enough stretch of straightness. I'm trying to think of where I sit usually and how far. Maybe like I think that the maximum distance before it kind of curves around to somewhere maybe like 6 or 7 miles. But Pontchartrain is you got straight across for 25 miles. And in fact, if I went to the it's 25 where the bridge is. Now if I go to the other side of it, it's something like 50 miles. So oddly, if I went to the other side, so it's shaped like a more like an egg, I guess. So we're beyond the narrow side looking across. The other way is probably 40 or 50 miles. So where the bridge is, if I go to the other side, if I could see the bridge from over there, that would be like 40 miles. That would be an interesting shot. Envision the railroad tracks, and you can get an idea of how far you can actually see. Um, what you mean? Envision the route, like if I were looking straight down railroad tracks, at what point would I be able to see a train coming? Help me out here. I'm not getting what you're saying. I mean, I get the point of convergence of, you know. Hmm. Oh, you mean like how far? Like you're saying, how far could my eyes really see? Like how far away can I really see? I mean, because certainly, if you can see the sun, and we would say the sun is somewhere between 20 and 50 miles, then we have that. I mean, the size of the object is gonna really. I'm trying to understand what you're saying about how far you could really see. I mean, there's obviously a limit to it, you know, you know. But then that limit there is going to be like the size of said object. I mean, clearly we can see the stars, so we can see that far. I'm trying to understand what you're saying, how far we could see in that sense. Yeah, I mean, if something literally was a million miles, and it was a million times the size of something, we wouldn't. I mean, would we see it? I don't know. That's a hard one to. I think there probably is some limit of 1,000 miles, 100. I don't know. Yeah, everything is much closer, for certain. It's much closer. I remember I used to watch this dude's channel. I haven't seen it, and he made a lot of really interesting claims. And one was he was saying it's a small, small world, and everything is way closer, in the sense that like he was big on the maps are very wrong, and that a mile ain't even really a mile kind of thing. And the way that I had understood it, if we look at a map and it says a mile from here to here, what we're not getting is there's an up and down. So if it's a mile to that, if on a map it says it's a mile, well, if you're in your car, going a mile would be traversing flat. Now, if you're going across somewhere that has hills, every time you go up and then come back down, that's adding distance. So the perceived distance is much short. You know, the perceived distance is 1 mile, but it's really only like 3/4 of a mile. So there's a lot of different things that go into, mapping out how far something is. Especially, he's like how far the car is going and what he's looking at, and he was using that versus using a camera lens, because when you use your eyes, something that appears this big, but then because of what the camera lens is doing, it's already made things in the distance seem different. Like he would be like, oh, see, that thing is right there, but the size of it, like whenever I look out my window, I'm like, wow, the Superdome is super close, but if I'm on the ground and I start walking, I'm like, it's not that close. But then I see where the city is. There's really interesting things the eyes do with a distance. Oh yeah, I mean, stars are definitely not. No, for me, obviously, the sun is between seemingly 20 and 50 miles. Wherever plasmic or dome or whatever the hell, wherever we're seeing stars, not that far. Another probably 20 to 50. Yeah, it's not going to zoom a billion miles away. Yeah, and the whole idea of, I mean, I don't want to get into all that because I think that's pretty apparent of how we see that, but the speed of light is faulty, and it doesn't travel. Light reproduces itself, as Walter Russell plainly pointed out. There's no speed to light, and the idea of, well, if that star is that far away, it's this many light years. Like, stop it. If I have a flashlight here, then why isn't that flashlight infinitely going that way? There'll be a point where you don't see it. If you're out in the field and you have a flashlight, like, why can't you see it? That beam of light should keep going, but it doesn't, because there seems to be something else going on there. Yeah, I mean, I got a tripod for my camera right here, so hopefully the screwy thing, hopefully I can screw the thing into the thing here. Yeah, light is yeah, it's I mean, do you know Walter Russell's work? Look into Walter Russell. For me, that's the book of all books if you want to understand real science. He shows you the periodic table of elements the way it should be, using periodicity, and uses it in octaves. So when you look at it, instead of looking at a bunch of blocks and it doesn't make any sense, he throws it into octaves and how it works and where they sit on the electrical magnetic spectrum, the male-female polarity. Yeah. And he talks about light. It reproduces itself. It doesn't move. It doesn't move anywhere. I mean, this tripod it's not great, but it will get the job done. As long as the little screwy knobby thing is the same. Register at a certain speed. I don't know about that. Because if for instance, every color has a different wavelength, then it would it would come to your eyes at a different time. Therefore, you wouldn't see all of the colors at the same time. So the wavelength seems like it exists, but it's always present. So just because the wavelength of purple is like this, and the wavelength of green is like this, there's no difference in time. It's just like how compressed or decompressed that is. It's not hitting your eyes at a different time, or else you wouldn't see it at the same moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, the interesting thing for me is considering sound. Okay, so if we're sitting there at a concert and we're far enough away from a speaker and somebody hits a drum, boom, and somebody hits the high note on a flute, what's going to hit your ear? If they hit it at the same time, what's going to hit your ear first? And if you could only snapshot that for a moment, what you're hearing from the bass is never going to get it's not going to get your ear. In that moment, you're only going to hear the flute. In that, if they hit at the same time, and you take how long it perceives to get to, it would seem to take to get to you. For sound, it's a little different. It's like making a wave in water, and how long that wave would take to get somewhere. Where it seems light is all of it at once. It doesn't. It's like light is just showing you the whole spectrum of everything. If that's making any sense, it's like It's light. Light is everything, or it's condensed and compressed into crystallized version, being this chair or being this thing, or it's always there. So it's just expressing or exposing what's already there. Where the other things like sound, it seems to take place inside of that. I like how you said to ferret things out, to figure things out. You like the Hermetic principle. If it doesn't fit, you don't pursue it. Yeah, yeah. I the things that don't fit, if it's an observable thing, I'll still put it aside and look at it in a different way. But certainly, we try too often to make puzzle pieces fit into puzzles that, like, well, that they just put it in the wrong box. Yeah, it's like all the frequencies at once. Ah, good point. Where does light end and darkness begin? It's kind of that would be in the same way of saying, inside of the poison is the panacea. It's like what's poisonous? Well, depends on the, it depends on what you're using it for. It's like if you were, let's use it in the form of acid. You take too much acid, it will burn your body. Yet, or if you pour acid on something, it'll burn it, right? But if you have alkalinity all over it, that acid's only going to balance it out. So you can't say acid is bad and alkaline's good. So why people on this alkaline diet? Nonsense. You can people don't get this. They go, look at this, how idiotic this is. We say the balance of the body is 7 pH. Go to 14 or 0. There, that's the balance. And there was alkalinic, because disease exists it only can exist in a acid environment. That's verifiably, absolutely, without question, wrong. You can go too far alkalinic. Disease, look up alkalinic diseases. They exist because you're too far in the other direction. But everybody wants to go that way. Now, why do they want to? Because the acid, fire, masculine patriarchy, the pyre, the fire, the papacy, the electricity is in the acid realm, and everything's so far into explosive acid red realm that going towards alkalinic is the right choice. But they want to go so far that way because they believe that they'll show you a scale. Well, here, the more alkalinic you get, the better it is. No, it's not. It's just as ridiculous saying fire is not going to be. You don't throw yourself in fire. That's acid. It's not going to work. But they want to go, if you go all the way to frozen cold, that's good. No, it's not. You'll freeze to death. You burn yourself or freeze to death. So that alkalinic disease exists in that state as well. So there's a the balance to things, and nobody wants everything's down with the patriarchy, down with the fire, down with the acid, except for that's. So now everything goes to the other realm. Everything goes to the cold and magnetic and feminine, and well, no, it's the balance. That's what people That's the androgyny of the realm, or the hermaphroditic part of the realm. What it should be, the balance. I mean, even farther on the thing that I've discussed so many times is with the alkalinic thing is just because you put something into your system alkaline or alkalinic does not suppose that your body will then in turn make you alkalinic. You won't become alkalized because your body is trying to find balance and homeostasis. It would make no sense. Oddly enough, if you add acid, your body will produce the things. So if you have, this is well known, but people don't get it, that if you have acid reflux and you're having problems with your stomach, what do people do? They're like, oh, my stomach is acidy. So they'll go and add things that are so far in the other realm to try to add alkaline. They're only causing the body to produce more acid because you're putting too much alkaline in. It's trying to balance, so it's overdoing it. And the smart choice would literally be to add acid, lime juice, and add these things and not go the other way. Because then your body will stop overproducing the acid. And you won't, and it won't give you a problem. It's the body chemistry is trying to find the middle, the balance. That's where your body stays healthy, not alkalinic. Yeah, a healthy mind helps that all out for sure. Yeah, I was thinking about this thing. People get stuck in the seeking for pleasure, and that's no good, right? But then the dilemma becomes for people that deny it all the time, that they don't involve themselves, not to become a slave to your desires is the goal, but that's not saying to avoid them. There's a big difference. There's a big difference in saying, I'm never going to eat chocolate cake because it's sinful. I'm never going to have intercourse. I'm never gonna not going to eat that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to enjoy that because that is a slippery slope to hedonism and sin. Then the point is not, no, the point is not to not participate in these things. That's not the point. It's to not let those be pulling you to that and only that always. If you have a whole spectrum of different things that you enjoy, you're not going to be addicted to any one of them, and you can enjoy all of them. It's not to repress and push away. Now, some people need to do that to begin with. People that have food addiction, sometimes they need to really just eliminate that completely, and then to allow little bits and pieces back into their life of foods and things. And it can go for anything, any kind of addiction. But again, it's never. The biggest thing is people go on these drastic. They go so far to here and then over to here that they're confused, that it causes so much chaos. They go overabundance of this and then nothing of that, and that's going to cause just as much chaos for the body, for the mind. Oh, I just can't have that anymore. It's not about not having it. It's you just don't need that much of it. There you go. Yeah, the placebo nocebo. Yeah, it's whenever I talked about it, like from the shamanistic level, or from the level of blackbirds, from the level of crows and vultures, and like they eat death and transmute it into life, into a living system. And as humans, we can consume death and turn it into life. When we shit and it grows a plant, and there's life in that. There's energy in that. So you can take anything you want into your body and transmute it and take the good and get rid of the bad. Everything has at least a little iota of goodness in it. So it doesn't matter what you consume as long as you just go, oh, I know what I need to digest, and I know what I can transmute, and I know what I need to get rid of. You divide it up. Divide up in your mind, your body, the whole thing, it'll work. Doesn't matter what it is you consume. Some is easier to digest, some is easier to, right? But then you have these people, and everybody knows this to be true. You have people that are kind of thick, chunky, fat, and you got thin people. And these these chubby people that will say that if they even look at a chocolate cake, they'll gain weight, and the other person over here is just skinny, consuming all day, and they don't put pound on. Well, there are some biological reasons, but it is primarily a placebo. Primarily their mind going, oh, I can't digest that. I'm gonna get bigger. I'm not gonna get skinny. And the person saying, this doesn't even affect me. I'm just gonna get rid of it. I'll consume what I want to. That's the major part of it. Balance ain't so easy. No, because it's not easy, because it's easy to fall into the trappings of, this is what I'm used to, and this is comfortable. This will be fine. I like this, so I'm gonna stick with this. I like to have chocolate pancakes for breakfast every day, and I like it, and it's easy, and I'm used to it. It's easy to fall into that trap because chocolate pancakes are pretty good, right? But to get to get out of what you're used to your addictions and your habits, your just little habits that you have, it takes thoughtfulness, and it takes work. Now, what I found the easiest ways to get rid of habits and addictions is not to get rid of them, but to trade them in. If you have a habit or addiction that's not serving you well, you don't just not do it anymore, because that opens up a cavity. It opens up a place that wants to vacuum something into it. So you replace it. It's like people eat a chocolate bar from Hershey's. Don't get rid of the chocolate bar get rid of the garbage from Hershey's and actually eat real chocolate, right? That's the trade. That's a huge, it's better, it'll taste better, but that's the trade. Or somebody's, you eat gummy fruity things and eat the real fruit. There's other things you can trade. There's all sorts of things you can trade if you can make what do you do for this? You got 20 minutes, and normally you'll get on your phone and you'll play a game for 15 minutes. Well, trade that in for, you can still use your phone, do some research on something. Just trade it in for something else. You could go as far as, okay, I'm not going to use my phone, and trade it in for something you can do, go walk in the park. There's a larger jump in the trade, but just trade activities, trade habits. There's nothing wrong with having, if you have things that you have an addiction or a habit, there's lots of good addictions and good habits. And people would call those rituals. People usually don't have bad rituals. They have something that they're doing that is righteous and good. And they'll do it. They'll get up in the morning and they'll go stare at the sun and think about how good the day is. It's a habit. It's an addiction. But it'll serve you. If you get up every morning and, eat a pound of sugar and smoke some crack and snort some PCP, maybe not a great morning breakfast ritual, huh? Yeah, I like that. It's not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more. That is poor. I like that, yeah. Yeah, if you say you can, you can. Yeah, you tend to get what you expect. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be merging my butt with the toilet in a second here, because the coffee and a little bit of tobacco has helped move my bowels into a different area. So check it out, everybody. For all the new people that are coming and going, if you want to, and for the old people, if you'd like to, it's Cash App and PayPal and Venmo and things. You can donate to this guy right here. It's in the description box beneath. For everybody else, you always know to take care of yourself first. because you're the most important person on your journey. You should take care of yourself, because if you can't take care of yourself, you can't help out others. And you should help out others, because the others are you and the Kesh. I am you and you are me, and we are the same thing. All of that and then some. Stay weird, stay cool. Good to see you guys. Habit is unconscious ritual. And turn unconscious rituals into something that is conscious. Because once you're conscious of it, you'll be more aware of it if it's actually serving you. Serving your better self. The best self, you can be the best version of you that you want to be. So ritual. There you go. Yeah. Peace, you guys. I'll talk to you soon. I gotta go do my duty. Talk to y'all soon. I'll probably be on a little later today. It is Saturday, so praise Allah and Saturn and all of the other demigods and whatever. Go enjoy your day. I'll probably talk to you in a little bit. Bye.